Yo, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Rogue Den. Welcome back, my fellow rogues. This is yo boy, the one, the only, self-appointed, self-anointed Rogue King. Welcome back to the channel today. It's been a long time since I've done a deck profile video, so that's what we're about to do today. What if I were to tell you that for the past little over a month or so now, you've been playing Branded entirely wrong? Yeah, let me tell you this. What you've been doing with Branded, it's been proven, right? Like prior to this format, we know that the Fallen of the White play, the Fallen of the White play into the Ecclesia and the Dark Dragon and all that, we've known that play to be the best play the deck can do. So we have, for months now, been making our deck revolve around that play. But then, guess what? Rolad came around and absolutely destroyed that strategy. And so you have seen 0 branded tops this past weekend as a result. And even the previous weekends, it's been falling off more and more and more as Rolad has solidified itself into the meta. So the realization is that while Branded does have a good Cool Tunes matchup, it has a terrible Rolad matchup. So what can we do about that? Well, what if I were to tell you that the Fallen of the White play is the reason why we have a bad Rolad matchup? All right, so let's go ahead and go through the deck profile. I'm going to go ahead and show you the card by card, and you're going to see that it's a completely different deck list than anything else you've seen before. And you may be thinking that as a result, it's like not good or whatever. You might, but trust me, try this build, and you will see what I mean. That it just accomplishes more than other branded decks accomplish, and therefore this is the better version. Okay, because remember, the reason why you lose the rollout matchup is because A, it's protected from anything but targeting, so that makes it a bit difficult. But also B, it's one of the few decks out there that can outgrind this deck. So what we need to do to fix the deck is A, give it more capacity to target, and B, give it more capacity to grind. So let's go ahead and go through the deck by the deck. So we're going to start off with, I am playing just 1 Fallen of the White instead of 2. Previously, I played 2, and you absolutely can play 2. However, I am almost certain this is going to get put to 1 on the next ban list. So I decided to sell it off while I still could. So if you want, you can play a second one. But what you'll see in this build is it actually does not matter to play the second one because this is not even the objective anymore. So it's a cool card that if you have access to it, you might as well. But it's no longer the objective. So therefore, you only need 1 copy of that there, okay? Then for the rest of the boys, we're playing just 2 Aliber. I did have this card at 3. However, I realized that it was just too clunky playing at 3. I had too many duplicate hands, and I don't want to use up my normal summon. So therefore, I decided to reduce this down to 2. You can, post side, reduce it down to even 1 copy. So keep that in mind. I have 2 in the main, but it is one of the cards that gets sided out. Then we have actually 3 Blazing Cartesias. Now, normally in everybody else's build, you see that they only play 2. In everybody else's build, that's absolutely correct. You do only play 2. However, the reason why you play 3 is because of how much more pivotal this card now is to the game plan. So that's where so keep that in mind for now. I'll show you what I mean by that later on. But that's why you play 3 is because this is much more pivotal than it used to be. Okay? Now, we're also playing 2 Incredible Ecclesias. This is a starter, which is why you play it at 2, but you don't want to play it at 3 because that becomes too cloggy and you get too much redundancy. But you do want to play it at 2 in basically every build. I know that a lot of players have opted to just play 1, and I see why. However, one of the things about Branded is sometimes you just get some very awkward hands where you just don't have enough ways to start. So you basically just want to make sure you have enough starters in the deck. And what you'll notice is about everybody else's list, is particularly the top players, is they have 17 or less starters. And as a result, their decks have fallen off the map. So you want to increase it to at least 20 starters in order to make sure that you always have the capacity to play and always have the capacity to get the play that I'm going to show you later on. You just want to make sure that you always win, right? So there's those 2 of those. We only need 1 Guiding Quem, so we're only playing 1 Guiding Quem. This is probably my favorite card of the deck, and if there was more reason to play another one, I would. But currently, at the way Branded is these days, you really do only need to play one. In basically any build right now, you only need one. But I would love to play more than one. It's just not viable. I also play one Dogmatica Maximus. In everybody else's build, I completely understand why this card is not played. But in this build, it's actually very, very pivotal. It actually does quite a bit for you and basically guarantees that you're going to win. So you do want to play this card. Definitely consider this card in your build. We play one Dogmatica Ecclesia the Virtuous. I absolutely love this card. She is great in so many regards. And I also love this rarity. I like this artwork in there. That's probably another one of my favorite cards here. I definitely think that every list should be playing it. Not just my style, but every list should be playing this because it just has so much versatility, so much usefulness. You really ought to play this card. I play one Tri-Brigade Spriggans kit, and this is the last for the engine monster lineup. I do play some non-engine monsters, but for the monsters that are engine, this is the last one. You don't need anything else. Notice how I'm not playing any of the other cards, not any Albions, not any literally any of the other cards. And the reason is because I wanted to maximize on starters and minimize on bricks. So that way I'm just guaranteed to get to what I'm trying to get to and therefore win as consistently as possible. So this card is very pivotal because it has so much utility. The only problem is it's not a starter. So admittedly, in that regard, it's not great. But it just does so much that it's worth playing the card anyway. So we play just one of that. So now we're moving on to the spells. We are indeed playing 3 Branded and High Spirits, just like everybody else is doing. You do have to play 3. I'm actually playing 3 Branded Opening. This is another card that gets sided out to whatever capacity you need to get sided out, usually just 1 copy. But you can't, the reason why we're playing all of these cards is because you do want to have as many starters as possible, and because the game plan is completely different, we actually don't mind being locked into fusions whatsoever. So keep that in mind. We are absolutely fine with being locked into fusions. So there's those ones there. Moving on, we do also play 3 Nadir Servants. This also just helps guarantee the play. You may be starting to think of what play I'm trying to go for by seeing all of this here. You may have figured it out by now, but we'll get into that in a little bit. We do play 3 fusion deployments as well. Again, just an extraordinary amount of starters is what we need. And also, this is my favorite artwork in the entire game. Look how beautiful this card looks. It's just so artistic. I love this card, so I'm so glad that I get to play it again because it really is probably the most gorgeous card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! So I do play 3 of those. And then I also play 3 fusion drafts. So now you might be wondering, what the heck is this about, right? This card essentially is the same as Fusion Deployment, but instead of special summoning it, it adds it to your hand. So this is actually also good in invoked builds, by the way, if you want to do it for that. But in this build, it really just gets you to either Blazing Cartesia or Fall Under the White, and it's still very, very good. Right, like you still wanted this card. I'll show you why once you understand the extra deck and stuff. We are playing 3 Fall Under the Virtuous, the best card in the game, one of the best cards in the game, and honestly, this deck can utilize it better than any other deck can, so you might as well play 3. Then, of course, we are playing the 1 Branded Fusion. Again, we absolutely do not mind getting Fusion locked. It's totally fine. And in the round that off for the last engine card, we are playing 1 Branded in Red. This card is actually really key because nobody really sees it coming and they don't really have enough ways to stop it. So I love this card here. The whole idea is that your board is going to be so layered that they don't really have the capacity to stop everything. And all you need to do is just start generating advantage, right? So we play for the non-engine. The non-engine is actually very small because the only things that I care about is making sure my plays go through in my build. Like, you can opt to play more non-engine, but I really just cared about having enough ways, I just basically did the minimum amount of non-engine possible, and still that put my deck count at 45 cards, which is fine. So we're playing 3 for Wallos, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, and then just 2 Droll. This is actually it for the non-engine and completely. In the main deck, this is it. There's no Super Poly, there's no Forbidden Droplets, there's no Cross-Out Designator, none of that stuff in the main deck at all, because we just don't care about that. Like, our engine is already going to be good enough to win the games, and surprisingly enough, the Super Polys and stuff like that actually resulted in more bricks than I thought it was. So genuinely, I think that it's actually better to not play it at all. You know, just play cards that are going to be always useful rather than cards that can be sometimes bricks. So I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle this deck up for right now, because I'm going to go ahead and show you a test hand in a little bit. But I want to go ahead and go through the extra deck next. This is where the spice comes in, okay? So a month and a half ago, there was a new card that got introduced to the game called Mixusa, right? And Mixusa is really, really, really good for Branded. The Branded could utilize that card better than anybody else. And of course, the card that we are trying to get to is going to be Hyper Invoked Aeon. So let's go ahead and go into the extra deck here. Oops, I forgot to organize it. Give me a second to organize it here. We'll start off with, we do play 2 Albions. We do play 2 Grangagnols. We do play 2 Dogmas. And the reason why we play these 6 is because we are going to be going through them quite often. And this build, the fusioning is much more important than in other people's builds, so you do need to maximize on these ones here. But if you are not trying to maximize the capacity for fusion summoning, you could cut one of these, because you already are playing another Mixusa, which actually kind of functions as another Gregagnol, because quite often you're going to be dumping this and then summoning this. All right, so we do have the Mixusa, and the way we summon this is obviously through Blazing Cartesia, so that's why it acts like a second Gregagnol, because you're not necessarily going to need a second Gregagnol because you're going into this instead, right? We do play 1 Lubellion, we do play 1 Titanclad, we do play 1 Rinbrum, and we do play 1 Mirror Jade. Yes, all of it's in low rarities. I don't care, all right? I love this deck. I really do. And I used to have it in a high rarities. I used to have it for over $1,000. But then I realized that, like, that's just a lot of money that I could just be spending on my life instead. So I sold off the expensive version and just downgraded, and I'm absolutely fine with that. We also play, of course, the 1 Ecclesia and the Dark Dragon. We still make this play. It's just not necessarily the first play that we aim for. Quite often what we'll see instead is that on my crackback, I'm making this card, and therefore it has much more usefulness. Okay, we also play 1 Guardian Chimera. This is for the branded in red, and this works very, very well. It just really catches people off guard. They don't see this coming anymore because it's long since been teched out of the game. Like, this used to be a staple in branded for the longest time, and it's long since been teched out because nobody's doing branded in red anymore. But honestly, this card is really, really, really good. It really catches people off guard. I also play 1 Elder Entity Entis. This is another way that we pop the rolad builds here, because we have the Deer Servant and things like that. This can just pop it. And also, it's a light. Keep that in mind. That does actually help out. And, of course, the 1 Hyper Invoked Aeon. So this is what the deck centers around now. Making sure that we get this off is the play here, right? Because if you look here, we have all kinds of cards that do all kinds of things, and then what ends up happening is you have 3 you have 3 different fusions in the graveyard. One's gonna be a light, one's gonna be a dark, and then you're also gonna have access to your Mixusa, which you make it into divine, and there you go. Then you can do Hyper Invoked Aeon. So they spend all their effort trying to stop you, only to realize they never stopped you at all. They just played right into your hand, and you, the entire time, you were intending to go Hyper Invoked Aeon. So let me show you what I mean. This is the deck here. We're going to go ahead and just do a test hand. We're going to say this is a going first hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You see, this is what I mean, right? We already have everything we need to get to Mixusa. Look how easily we get to Mixusa with all of this, right? We can start off by activating fusion deployment, which generally speaking, and we reveal any of the Albaz ones. Generally speaking, they're not going to stop this, but they could. The reason why they're not going to stop it is because they know that we're going to get to fall under the white, but they also know that we just fusion locked ourselves, so now they don't care as much what we do. So they may stop it, but the only really way to stop it is to Ash Blossom and things like that, so they probably won't. So let's say that does go through here. We're going to go ahead and get to ourselves to the Fallen of the White. Keep it in mind, we are now fusion locked, right? We're going to go ahead and activate... we're going to go ahead and activate the Fallen of the White to special summon itself by sending... we always want to make sure that we have everything we need ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and do the only light one that we have. Even though it doesn't give us an effect, that's absolutely fine. We're going to attempt to go for effect here. And they can stop this, but again, they probably won't because it's not needed, right? We're going to go ahead and just do it anyway. And let's say, here's the Ecclesia. We're just going to have it ready for next turn. It's just there to have ready for next turn. That's literally all it's doing right now, because that's all we need it to do right now, okay? And of course, we also special summon the Blazing Cartesia, whatever zoning you want there. Let's put it over here just for the sake of this here, okay? And remember, we're locked into fusions, but we're not locked out of fusions yet. So we're going to go ahead and do the Blazing Cartesia effect using the Fallen of the White Dragon and the Blazing Cartesia to summon our Mixusa. We're going to activate its effect. It's not a quick effect to activate its effect, so keep that in mind. So they can stop you here. We're going to activate its effect to declare divine. And if they can stop this, they will, because they know it's not a quick effect, and they know that now that you're going for the Aeon play. So now they know you're going for Aeon. So now what we're going to do is go Nadir Servant, okay? We are going to send the... Well, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, we didn't need to send the Lubellion. We could have sent something that was actually useful, because we already have a way to get to a light target instead. So we're going to go ahead and send the Albion instead. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do Nadir Servant, sending the Entis. See, there's the light. Okay, now we have a light, and we have a hold on just a second. My dog is being my dog here. Marcy, stop it! Stop it, Marshall. No. Sorry about that, guys. I'm filming inside my house today, and I have to take care of my dog. He's such a good boy, though. I love that dog. Okay, so with Nadir Servant, we're just going to go ahead and add our Guiding Quem. Let me find that. There you go. Guiding Quem. We're going to go ahead and normal summon the Guiding Quem, okay? And activating its effect, we're going to go ahead and dump, in particular, the... Tri-Brigade Spring its kits. Oh, Marcy, stop it! Sorry, that's my dog being my dog again. Tri-Brigade Spring its kit is going to activate, which is going to just go ahead and special summon back. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and special back the Blazing Cartesia. Okay. And now we already have everything we need, again, to just be unbelievably well set off, right? We're going to go ahead and... Oof, that's a little bit of a problem. I did mess up a little bit. Okay, we are going to go ahead and have to Maximus here. If we want to keep going, we're going to go ahead and Maximus, which does help out a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and banish the Entis, just to make sure that we get enough things in the graveyard here. The last things we need, we did that. So we're going to go ahead and do. Let's do, we want to make sure everything's set up. So we already have that. We already have that. Let's go ahead and do Dogma, and we're just going to go to do the Lubellion after all to make sure we have enough things there. Okay. Then at this point, we have our full field ready to go, but what we can also do is on the end phase here, we've got effects activating here. We're going to start off with doing the Dragon that Devours the Dog. Actually, you know, this should have been, this should have been a Titanclad instead. It should have been Titanclad. Okay, Titanclad activating its effect to summon the Dogmatica Ecclesia, and that would activate its effect just to get you to a Fallen of the Virtuous, which, of course, we can use if we want to use to bring to pop anything we want to pop just to get another thing in the graveyard. But I'm just going to go ahead and save it for next turn so we have a follow-up. And then we have Albion activating to set our... We can go and set Fallen the Virtuous, or we can set Brandon in red. I'm going to go ahead and set Brandon in red. Okay? And the reason why I'm going to set Brandon in red is because we already have the target in the graveyard, and we already have a dead monster in our hand from the start of our turn. So, therefore, we already have Guardian Chimera ready to go. So, at this point, at the earliest opportunity, we go ahead and do effect here to banish itself, because remember, it's a divine, the Lubellion, because it's a light, and the Albion, because it's a dark, right? That makes 3. We go ahead and summon the... Where'd it go? Oh, Hyper-Invoked Aeon, activating its effect. We, at whatever opportunity was the best opportunity to do it, right? And then, of course, that would trigger Guiding Quem, but we don't need to do that Guiding Quem yet, because watch what we do instead of that yet. We still have these... actually, it probably is better to do the Guiding Quem. Yeah, we were going to go ahead and do Guiding Quem here. Oh, no, we don't have enough monster space yet. We don't have enough monster space. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the Blazing Cartesia effect. Actually, no, we're going to do the Incredible Virtuous effect at whatever opportunity is the best opportunity. To do that, to summon Fallen of the Albaz, right? Doing Fallen of the Albaz effect, right? Discarding this for cost. Let's say it's summoned the Mirror Jade, right? We activate the Mirror Jade effect at this point. We want to make sure that we have more follow-ups, so we're just going to go ahead and send that to the grave, right? Now, we still have the Brandon Red that we have not used yet, right? This is already on the field as well, okay? We can, at this point, after we've already done the Mirror Jade, right? Let's say we did the Mirror Jade on something. Now we're going to go Blazing Cartesia to summon Granguignol. Granguignol effect, dump this, so that way we have it for next turn as well, right? And then also Guiding Quem effect to bring back the Mirror Jade, to do the Mirror Jade again, right? In this case, we'll just do the second Albion, okay? And then we still haven't used the Brandon in red, so let's go ahead and use the Brandon in red. We will add back the... we'll go ahead and add back this Fallen of the Albaz, and then go ahead and immediately do the Fusion Summon. We'll use these 3 monsters here because we don't need them to summon Guardian Chimera. Let me put it over here. Guardian Chimera. Boom, Guardian Chimera effect. It's going to do a pop 2 and draw 1. It's actually going to draw 1 first and then pop 2. But you see that? This was this popped 2 things. This got rid of 2 things. This got rid of 3 things plus the 3 things from the extra deck. Then we had the Fallen of the the Fallen of the Albaz. Got rid of another couple of things, right? And then on top of that, on the follow-up, we still have the Ecclesia to get rid of another thing of theirs, right? And of course, a bunch of stuff is activating on the end phase. So that's what this deck is now supposed to do, is that it just always has the capacity to do above 5 interruptions. And I know what you're saying. Of all those interruptions I just did, none of them... correct? Was none of them? Yeah, none of them were targeting, right? That's actually fine. Like, the only one that targets is this, so and imperm and things like that. Like, it's actually fine because we don't need to target everything, right? We only need to target the one thing, and if we just get rid of the rest of their field, we have generated enough advantage that we will still win even with just the one thing that we need to target. So That's what this makes this deck so very good here. I really hope you enjoyed this deck video. Let me know what you all think about it here. Let me know if you have any comments about it or any questions about it here. There is no side deck yet for this. It's still a work in progress, so I'm not going to show you the side deck. But the side deck would basically just revolve around the bad matchups, which would be the rolad, and then just going second cards. Because this is already so good at going first, I don't need to invest anything more to going first. So my entire side deck would be anti-rolad, anti-invoked, because invoked is also a difficult matchup against this, and then blind second cards, or going second cards, excuse me. Let me know what you all think. Hope you all enjoyed it. Love you. See you in the next one, guys.